Hi there. Well, I'm Dave Dickens. I'm one of the unofficial challengers in the 2020 Great Guitar Build Off. I'm really excited about this project. I haven't got long. It's due in on the 17th of October. It's now at the end of August, so I better get going. Okay, before I start work, I want to give you a rundown on what I'm planning to do. I'm going to build one of my compact stroke travel guitars. This is the body template for that. I'm going to use this beautiful cherry as the back of the body, and I'm going to use this beautiful figured olive as a book matched top for that. I'm saying book matched top. Right, and now I'm going to use for the neck, I've got this piece of maple which I've already cut. I haven't got much time for this build, so this is a piece that I've already cut. And I've also got a beautiful walnut, quilted walnut fretboard. This I cut from a board last year, so it's had plenty of time to settle. Now then, for the headstock, again, because I haven't got much time, I'm using something that I cut out previously. This is a piece of ash, and I'm going to put some of the olive veneer on the top of the headstock. So that's all done. And then to finish off, down the side of the fretboard, I'm going to use this binding. This is Santos rosewood. I actually got a nice piece of this and cut some fretboards from it. And this is actually a strip from the edge of the fretboards. So, but it does make a really nice binding down the edge of the fretboard. So this is going to be a guitar with quite a bit of wood in it, different wood in it. I've also got a bit of sapele which I might use for the covers at the back of the guitar. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. The first things I want to do is to cut out the book matched top and the body shape, because I'm going to have to let them sit for a couple of weeks just for the wood to settle. I've had trouble with it in the past. It's split after a while, so I'm going to have to let it settle. I haven't got much time, as I said, so let's crack on. Now I'm thinking that this looks really nice. This grain is really nice, and I'm just thinking, can I get a nice book matched piece from this? So if I place the center, now then, if I can cut it somewhere across there so I can get a nice point to match, that's going to be really good. So let's get a ruler. I'm just going to draw a line through this figuring here. Let's see, I'm going to go through there. Ooh, this is going to be a fiddle. Right, okay, I think we're about there. So I'm going to draw a line through that, through there. Okay. Yeah, it's going to look a bit funny there, so I'm going to just change the line. It's all a bit hit and miss, this. Let's try again. Let's do again, line there. So I'm going to do a line there. And line the centre line of the guitar up, line that up there, line that up there. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this piece. Let's give myself. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space above the guitar there, just draw a rough line across there. Now, before I cut this olive, I just want to say that olive is a beautifully figured wood, but it's also one of those woods that you've got to be really careful with, because it can irritate your skin, as I learnt to my cost last year, and it's no good for your lungs. So you need a lot of vacuum, ventilation. I've got a fan there, and safety equipment. Let's get ready. Okay, so now I have to decide which half to use. Let's have a look. I really like this feature here. Is that going to work? That looks really nice. I think I'm going to go with that, and that will fit nicely on the other side too. There's going to be a lot of machine noise in these videos and a lot of background hiss from the air cleaner there. So I'm going to be putting some music on the background. All the music you hear is music I've produced on Cubase or Cubasis and using the guitars that I've built, including the travel guitars. So I hope you enjoy it. I need to get both these pieces down to the same thickness, so I'm going to do it with the thickness. Okay, so I've cut out the olive top. It's going to have to settle. I'm going to leave it, if I can, for a couple of weeks. We'll see, because I know this wood is going to move. But I think it's going to look really nice. Okay, guys, well, just had a coffee break and I had a discussion with my senior graphic designer, aka Carolyn, my wife, who is a very good designer and knows her stuff, and we've agreed that the cherry is just going to clash with this beautiful olive top. So the cherry is going. The maple neck is going to look funny as well. The maple neck's going. Introducing the sapele back and neck. So we're going to make the neck and the back with sapele, which I think is going to go really well with this beautiful olive figurine, and the walnut fretboard. Well, that's the plan now. Better get on. So this isn't wide enough to do the whole body, so I'm going to have to do it in two halves, which is quite handy. So I've just marked it out. I've got enough for the first part there. Turn that over and the other half will go nicely in there, and that will leave a nice strip along the edge there to do the neck and then the headstock. Now then, I don't know whether this is thick enough for me to be able to get the slope right for the headstock, but we'll see. First of all, we'll cut this down the middle and we'll have a look at it. First things first, I'm going to get rid of this olive dust. I noticed while I was cutting the olive that the blade was smoking a bit, which is a bit frustrating because it's a new blade, but I caught a nail on it the other day and I think it's probably buggered it, but we'll have a go, see how it cuts this. Now I want the body to be 30 millimeters thick, and this is 32, so I'm going to have to thin that down. The olive top's going to be about 4 mil at the end, so I'm going to take a bit off there. The edges of this sapele are pretty level, and I think actually I'm going to get away with just using a levelling beam. Now, my levelling beams, if you've got any old vertical blinds in your house and you end up with the metal fitting on the top, they make a brilliant levelling beam. All you do is just stick two halves together with some super glue, give it a good firm press, and then use the old super glue and masking tape trick to put the sandpaper on, and hey presto, you've got a great levelling beam. Anyway, let's just smooth this off. Okay, so I've got a reasonably smooth edge on each side of that. They'll go together. The grain sort of runs at angles towards the neck, which actually I don't mind. That's all right. And I can just fit the guitar in, which is great. So what I'm going to do is glue this up now and leave it to set. I'm just wondering if I can use this clamping fixture that I made for doing book match tops for this body. If it's deep enough, I should be able to get away with it. Okay, so unscrew those. The question is, can I get the body blanks underneath there? No, I'm going to have to take this piece of wood off. That's not a problem though. Well, that's better. Now that should go in there, like so. Oh, it's a bit tight. Actually, if I loosen that off a bit. Beauty with this is I've got, the wood isn't absolutely square there. It's because I've had to cut it at a slight angle. So this will clamp at that angle, which is really good. Okay, fingers crossed that's going to be okay. Let's put it to one side. Okay, so now to the neck, and the big question is is this piece of sapele thick enough to give me the angle that I need for the headstock. Now this is a piece that's been cut out of some ash, and it's about 12 mil thick. By the time it's got a veneer on the top, that would be the right thickness. So it gives me a rough idea about how that should look. According to the notes that I made last time I made this, I need the headstock sloping back about 8 degrees. Now that might not be enough, just to make sure the strings go over the nut properly. But anyway, let's have a look, see what I can actually achieve. So the nut position is there, so that's obviously got to be on the flat, and then we've got to drop the headstock back. So if I'm doing this by eye, I'm so close, so close. Can I get away with it? Can I get away with it? Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. Let's just double check your angle measurement there. Double check your angle measurement. I mean, the trick is what the thickness is there. If I can get away with that sort of thickness there, that's 12. It's 12 mil thick at that point. By the time I've got a veneer on, that will pad it out a bit more, because the veneer is going to come up. And then I've got the thickness of the fretboard. Fretboard's going to go to there. Neck's going to drop back from the fretboard. Gosh, it's looking good. I think we can get away with this. First up, I need to mark a centre line, no thinner than 60 mil. So if I mark 30 there, I mark 30 here, and join those two up, that will be the centre line. Now I'll measure from that 30, that's 30 there. For the headstock. So that means I'm going to have to go slightly at an angle. Okay, I turn it over. Take two. What I'm going to do is work out where the centre is here, where the centre is there, and put a line up through there. Brilliant. Now I need to mark out the actual width of the neck, which I'm going to go no smaller than 60 according to my notes, so no smaller than 60. One of the things I do quite often is cut the nut end of the neck much too narrow. So I'm determined this time not to do that. That's 60. That's that. Okay, first things first, I'm going to mark the position of the nut. So I've just lined the centre lines up. I'll get to the end there. Allow some room for carving it out. And so the nut position is there. Right. Because neither of these edges are straight, I'm going to have to use a set square. And I'll just draw that straight across. Right, so that's the nut position. Now I need to work out where the end of the fretboard will be. According to my notes here, the end of the fretboard is 461 millimeters. Now, with this guitar, because it's a travel guitar, it's actually got 21 frets and not 22. So the fretboard isn't as long as a conventional guitar, obviously because we're trying to make it more compact. So I've got 461, so let's see if we can fit this. 461 is 473. So I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to do anything with it at the moment. But what I am going to do is shape this end. So Now the old saying goes, measure, measure, measure again, and that's what I'm going to do. But first of all, I'm going to go and have a complete break. I'll have a cup of tea or walk around the garden or something. Then I'll come back and check these measurements, because me and measurements don't go together very well, and I've only got one piece of sapele, and if I mess that up, well, we're in trouble. See you in a bit. Hey, I've got an idea. While I contemplate the measurements, why not come and meet the neighbours? These are this year's lambs, and they're getting really big now. And this little one we're calling Tiddler. Very cute. I've got to cut a piece of this olive for the headstock. Now, let's see. I wanted to sort of blend in with this beautiful bit of walnut that I've got here. So this is going to be at the nut end. So we've got the quilts at the bottom end, and it sort of then goes out to these, I don't know, dips at the top there. So let's have a look. I sort of like this idea of these streaks coming up through from the fretboard. It's about there I go for. Let's just draw a line on that and see what it looks like. Give myself a little bit more room. It's a smaller headstock than a conventional guitar, but then again it's supposed to be a compact guitar, so that's why. Oh, yeah, I rather like that. It's only day one of this build, and you're probably getting sick of me bandsawing things, so I'll spare you the details of this. Needless to say, I'm going to chop out a piece of this olive and then cut a veneer from it. See you in a bit. I've cut the veneer, so I'm just going to run it through the thicknesser. So to do that, I'm going to use the masking tape and super glue trick just to fix that onto this piece of wood, because it's too thin to go through the thicknesser. And hopefully this should just hold it enough to go through the machine. It's just sort of just put a drop of super glue there. Unlike Ben at Crimson Guitars, I don't use accelerator, I just hold it down. There we go, that's pretty tight. Okay, let's run that through the thicknesser just to take the surface off. I'm going to leave this to one side now to allow it to stretch or shrink or whatever it's going to do along with these pieces. And now I'm going to go and cut the neck. Now I've checked the measurements and I've held it against the guitar that I've made before, and I'm pretty confident that these measurements are right, so I'm going to give it a go with the bandsaw. And I think this is probably going to be the last thing I do today, because I've got to let everything then settle down a bit before I do any more work on it. Now you may be wondering what all this talk of travel guitars and compact guitars is, and if you're interested in learning more about what I've been working on over the last few years, please check out the video, which I'm going to put a link to at the end of this clip. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you very soon as I continue this guitar build. Thank you very much for watching.